Hey y'all. So shit's getting real. Um, I wanted to come to you guys and share a little bit of what my family has experienced in the last couple of years living here in Superior, Wisconsin, and why Joseph having a target on his back is so hard for me to swallow. Like almost like difficult to swallow. Um, 2 days before Joseph was due to graduate from high school, from Superior High School, he was arrested. He was sitting in a car with the mother, now the mother of his child, but at the time his girlfriend. And he was arrested because the officer became upset with him for not responding to him accordingly. And if anybody know me, you know his mother, we don't really go quiet. Um, and so he was arrested, thrown to the ground, threatened with a taser. And this particular officer is the same officer who was involved in a very violent situation here with another African American resident that actually got our city sued a few years ago. So we dealt with that situation. Charges was dropped. Um, and then we just kind of went on with our life. Didn't really make a whole bunch of fuss about it. Then he went up to college against my better judgment. He went up to Masabi College, and within 2 weeks, he was arrested there. Him and two other young men, one Hispanic, one white young man, and they were arrested for trespassing. They was on somebody's property, an empty building, taking pictures. Um, and we have the pictures to show that they were really taking pictures and making videos. And instead, he was arrested, held in jail for a night, was put on probation for a year, um, and then dropped from his college program. And that was his dream, to play college football. Like that's Joseph has had two dreams his entire life, and that is to be a father and to play college football. It seems as though activism is his thing, but um, and then most recently, I sent JoJo to Sam's Club because I was going to make a special dinner for them. Probably 2 weeks before I was due to have a procedure. And so I wanted to like do like this really big dinner for them because that's kind of my thing. And JoJo was in a really bad car accident to the point where, and when I say bad, my car was totaled. Um, in that situation, JoJo was going on Highway 535, I believe, to get up to Sam's Club. He accidentally cut a truck off, a F-1500. And once he realized he cut him off, he hurried up, got back in his lane. Then he, got into the other lane, went through the light, and he saw that that truck was pulled over. So he pulled over to apologize because he was in the wrong for cutting that vehicle off. Yep. So he pulls over, and the gentleman, who happened to be a 43, 45-year-old white male weighing about 320 pounds easily, decided instead of talking to my son like a man, he would attack him with a taser 2 times in his neck. He never introduced himself. He attacked my son. Um, Joseph is very fit. He's very muscular, and he's all about lifting weights and all of that stuff. And so JoJo went into fight mode, not flight mode. And he started to defend himself. And when the man realized that he was not going to be able to just kind of take my son down, he ran to his truck and put on these gloves that had knives that stuck out the side of them, and to came back to attack my son. And JoJo continued to defend himself. When the man realized he couldn't beat JoJo even with the knives on his hands, he ran back to his truck and yelled, "Baby, get the gun." Mind you, this is all because JoJo was in the wrong for cutting him off. And JoJo pulled over because that was the right thing to do. And the man went back to his car to get the gun. JoJo still didn't run. I would have told him to run at that point. I would have told him to leave, but he didn't run. And instead of coming back with a gun, the man decided, while my son was standing outside of the car, to rear end my car. And in the middle of all this, another white male see my son, not knowing what's happening, what's going on, see my son fighting with this other white man. And the pedestrian, who was just kind of minding his own business, decided to attack my son as well. And the other driver who initially attacked my son now had someone who didn't have a clue what was going on defending him, sitting on top of my son in the rain. When I got to the scene, I asked the man, I said, "You thought you were going to kill a nigger today, didn't you?" And the man smiled at me. That smile has haunted me because I really want to rip it off his face. If I can be just frankly honest. Like, I have the galls and the balls to cut it off his face because I know what that smile meant. In the midst of it, I found myself trying to hush my son, and he just wanted to be heard. When I made it to the scene, it was about 6 sheriffs circling that man and only one police officer sitting in his car watching my son instead of consoling him or trying to figure out what's going on, to hear his voice, to hear his story. And the only thing Joseph was trying to do was be heard. And what he was told was to be quiet. As a mother, I find myself in a place like stuck because he has every right to be heard. He has every right to be validated. That wasn't going to be the situation that validated his truth about how Black men would have died or been arrested in that situation had he been a white child and that Black man been a Black man at 40 something years old, doing that to a 20-year-old white male. What we did find out was that this man had weed in his car. We found out the 2 guns, or the knives, were real. The officers say they didn't find a gun, but my other son seen that they had removed one from the car. They found the tasers, but they charged my son with 2nd-degree assault after defending himself, after stopping for doing the right, after doing the right thing and stopping after cutting someone off. He didn't owe that man that courtesy. Getting out the way was the courtesy. He didn't owe him the courtesy to stop. But because that man was under the influence, I'm certain he was completely startled. And then his ego got in the way. But let me put some other information in your ear. He didn't even have insurance, and he wasn't even arrested. Joseph has every right to be tired and to fight back. As his mom, I have every right to do what I'm doing, which is staying out of his way and not putting my fears on him. He's angry, and he has every right to be. He just wants to live. And this ain't his fucking fight. But I stand by him. Because now I have a grandson. And I can't be silent anymore. So I'm making this video known. I stand by my son wholeheartedly and rightfully. I stand by him in his right to fight and his right to be heard as a young black man, and as a young black man who is a father of a toddler who is black and Italian. I struggle because I've showed him to fight. Nobody ever showed me how to protect him and fight. As mothers, we just we want to just do all that we can to protect them. But as mothers, we also, in protection, we stunt their growth. JoJo is tired and he's only 20. He's only 20. And so there's one rule in this house. And the rule is to always make it home. I don't care what we do, what we fight for. The rule is make it home so that we can talk about it. Life or liberty, we will make it home. And I hope your babies do too.